The Prestige, but a comedy. Let's see how this all turns out. Now, The Incredible Burt Wonderstone stars Steve Carrel, Steve Buscemi, Alan Arkin, and Jim Carrey. And it follows these two magicians who are named Burt Wonderstone and Anton Marvelton, who are played by Steve Carrel and Steve Buscemi. Now, these two characters have been best friends ever since they were little kids. Like, since they're like 10 years old, they've always been performing magic tricks together in this like little magic kit. Now, many years later, they have a real successful show in Las Vegas when they pretty much just show like cliched types of magic tricks like card tricks, disappearing, and all that kind of stuff. But then their audiences start to decrease when a new magician comes in who is named Steve Gray, who is played by Jim Carrey. And Jim Carrey's character is more of like a Chris Angel type of magician. I really can't really call him a magician. He basically just harms himself. Like, for example, he cuts his face, he walks on hot coal, he actually holds his own pee. But now, people don't want to go see Steve Carell and Steve Buscemi anymore. They want to go see Jim Carrey, so it leads to a rivalry between Steve Carell and Steve Buscemi to Jim Carrey. Now, at first, I was real pumped to see this film, mainly because of the actors in this movie. I love Steve Carell. He's a really funny actor. In most of his movies I've loved. There have been a couple bad ones, but still, he's awesome. I also love Steve Buscemi, also in comedic roles and dramatic roles too. And of course, Jim Carrey was a big reason why I wanted to see the movie, because Jim Carrey is one of my favorite comedic actors of all time. But surprisingly, this movie really isn't that funny. Which is very shocking to say due to all these funny actors. Steve Carell, we all know, is very goofy and very silly and just naturally a real funny guy. But in this film, he is so unlikable. And when I mean unlikable, he is a total jerk. In the first half of the film, he's just a big egomaniac, only cares about himself, and he's just a complete jerk. His character can end up being so unlikable, he is more unlikable than the supposed villain of the film. As you can probably guess, Steve Carell's character does have a change of heart and all, but still, are you just trying to erase from our minds his complete cocky personality in like 10 minutes before? And he's probably one of the most unlikable main characters I've seen all year, if not the most. Steve Buscemi's character is also very boring, very dull, and he's more nice than Steve Carell's character in the beginning, but just these two main characters are so boring and so dull that you really don't care about either one of them. And a little bit of a spoiler, Steve Buscemi is not really in this movie at all. He's a big part in the beginning, barely in the middle, and mostly is focused on the end. But at least this film was successful on the actor I was most excited for in this movie, and of course, that was Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey was absolutely hilarious in this movie. Whenever you see him do these stupid tricks, it made me laugh out loud. Jim Carrey definitely shined his performance in this movie, and definitely saved the movie a lot for me. Also, Alan Arkin is in this movie, and he was very, very funny. He was definitely the second best actor in this movie. First, of course, you have to give it to Jim Carrey. And the other supporting cast, like there's James Gandolfini, and there's Olivia Wilde, I think her name is, they were okay. I think that the performances were definitely a little bit of a drop and a very big disadvantage for this film. Most of the characters are so unlikable that I was actually rooting for the villain of the movie. And sometimes it's fun and like they kind of want you to do that, kind of like in The Dark Knight. But at least Batman was a likable character in this. Burt Wonderstone is just, he's an unlikable character. And I don't think it's because of the actors, I think it was because of the writer. The writing was definitely not good at all. It was a very cliched type of script, and it seemed like the writer just didn't care. He just seemed like he just wanted to make a few bucks, along with the actors. I'm not sure if this is true or not, it's just my opinion, because I know that those actors are much smarter than this, and this movie just only had a few laughs, and just was very cliched, and most of these actors' comedies are very well done and very funny. Maybe the script was very good at the first time, and then later on they were making a bunch of changes that made it terrible, but hey, that's just what I think. But at least the parts that were funny were really funny. Jim Carrey definitely brings out a lot of laughs in the movie, and it's definitely a big reason why you should see this film. And you still get a few laughs from Steve Carell, pretty much just in the middle and the end of the movie. In the beginning, he was just a complete jerk. Which is a big complaint for me, how the first half was just not good at all. I'm just thinking, oh my god, what the hell is going on? Like in the first half hour to 45 minutes, I was like, I absolutely hated this movie. But then Jim Carrey came in and it all was made up. But the thing I liked about this movie was that sometimes it did have some good chemistry between Steve Carell and Steve Buscemi. But it doesn't make up for the other hour and 20 minutes that we had in the movie. And I think the ending went very well, and there's this very funny conclusion, which I'm not going to give away, but it is very, very funny. Well, overall, The Incredible Burt Wonderstone does have some mixed goods. Jim Carrey is very funny, and he's definitely a big reason why you should see this movie, and you also still get a few laughs from Alan Arkin and Steve Carell and Steve Buscemi too. I personally don't really recommend you to see this movie. If you have nothing to do and you have some spare time, you should go see this movie. Mostly, I think it'd be more of a rental kind of film. Now, for my new grading system, I will be giving The Incredible Burt Wonderstone a C+. So that is my review of The Incredible Burt Wonderstone, guys, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Now I'm Lucas Stringer. I'll see you guys later.